At age 80, time feels like both an ally and a thief. Years have accumulated, moments woven into a tapestry of memories. But now the fabric seems more fragile. Grace, an 83-year-old woman, often sat by her window, gazing at the blooming garden her late husband had nurtured. Despite the flower's continued resilience, Grace felt the weight of her years in her bones, a heaviness that reminded her daily of life's harsh truths after 80. One morning, she woke to stiffness in her joints. She shuffled to the kitchen to make her tea, but her fingers trembled as she tried to grasp the kettle. This was the first harsh reality. The body, once agile and strong, inevitably weakens. Grace had always been active, taking walks around the neighborhood and tending to her garden. But now her knees ached, her back hunched, and climbing stairs felt like scaling a mountain. She resented the days when her body refused to obey her mind's commands. Even simple tasks required strategic thinking: where to rest, how to avoid slipping, and when to ask for help. The second harsh reality crept in during lonely afternoons when Grace noticed how quiet the house had become. After her husband passed and her children moved away, silence replaced the once lively chatter of family gatherings. Loss becomes a frequent companion. Friends began to vanish, one by one, some taken by illness, others lost to the haze of dementia. Funerals became routine, and phone calls bore news of another passing. Grace often reflected on how she had outlived so many she loved, yet each loss felt like a chisel carving away parts of her heart. Her family visited occasionally, but life was busy for them, and she hesitated to impose. Grace realized a third, unforgiving truth while sorting through bills one afternoon. Though she had planned carefully, medical expenses had grown with her age. Prescriptions multiplied, copays stacked, and insurance wasn't always comprehensive. Financial strain doesn't vanish with age. She found herself worrying about the cost of assisted care, should she need it, and whether she'd have to dip into the small savings she had guarded so closely. Pride prevented her from asking her children for help, but anxiety lingered over every check she wrote. The fourth reality struck one chilly evening when she joined a book club at the community center. She struggled to follow the conversation, straining to hear amidst background noise. Frustrated, she realized her hearing was fading, and her vision had blurred, making the words on the pages dance like shadows. The senses, so vital in connecting to the world, begin to fade. Grace loved reading and music, but now she found herself straining to enjoy them. She considered hearing aids, magnifying glasses, and stronger prescriptions, but they were just temporary fixes to a deeper truth: her body's gradual surrender to time. The fifth, perhaps cruelest reality came one rainy afternoon when Grace's neighbor, Evelyn, was taken to the hospital after a fall. Grace was struck by the realization that independence is fragile. Evelyn had always been spirited and self-sufficient, but one misstep on a wet sidewalk changed everything. Grace began to fear her own vulnerability. What if she fell? Who would come? How long would she wait? She installed grab bars in her bathroom and carried a cell phone everywhere, but anxiety lingered. She hated relying on others, but she knew that one day she might have no choice. Despite these harsh realities, Grace found moments of peace. She cherished the scent of roses from her garden, the laughter of her granddaughter on weekend visits, and the quiet comfort of her favorite books. She learned to appreciate the simpler pleasures: watching the sunrise, savoring a warm cup of tea, and reminiscing about adventures from her youth. But she couldn't ignore the truth. Life after 80 meant adjusting to new limitations, facing loss with courage, stretching finances with caution, accepting the slow fade of senses, and confronting the delicate balance of independence. It required resilience, humility, and a touch of grace, qualities she had cultivated over a lifetime. And as she sat by the window, listening to the rain tapping on the glass, Grace whispered to herself, "This is my time now. I'll make the best of what's left."